My people of faith, listen to me. When life comes against you, it will not always come softly. It comes to test your patience, your peace, your focus, your faith. But you must learn to act as if nothing bothers you. This is not pretending. It is not denying what you feel. It is mastering your spirit. It is the victory of the inner man over the noise of the outer world. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you are telling the devil, you have lost your power over my reaction. Because what the enemy cannot control is your reaction. He may control your situation, but he cannot control your peace unless you hand it over. Every challenge is looking for your response. Every storm is asking, will you panic or will you trust? The storm does not destroy the one who stays calm. The storm destroys the one who allows fear to enter the heart. My brother, my sister, peace is not the absence of trouble. Peace is the calmness of heart in the middle of the trouble. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, not because nothing happens, but because your God is bigger than what happens. Many of you are crying because you want people to understand your pain. You want them to see how much you are suffering. But listen, not everyone can understand what you carry. Some will see your tears as weakness. Some will see your calmness as pride. But God sees your silence as strength. There are moments when the best answer is no answer. The best explanation is no explanation. The best defense is no defense. The best reaction is no reaction. When they lie against you, act as if nothing bothers you. When they ignore you, act as if nothing bothers you. When they celebrate others and forget you, act as if nothing bothers you. When life closes one door after another, act as if nothing bothers you. Because in that moment, heaven is watching how you handle the pressure. God is not moved by your emotions. He is moved by your faith. If you truly know that God fights for you, why do you fight for yourself? If you truly know that God sees, why do you explain yourself to people? You lose peace when you start explaining spiritual things to carnal minds. You lose energy when you start defending yourself before people who have already made up their minds. You lose focus when you start responding to every insult, every rumor, every misunderstanding. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, because when you do, you give God space to work. Some of you are too quick to react. You hear something, you explode. You see something, you respond. You feel something, you speak. But maturity is silent strength. Wisdom is calm confidence. Greatness is hidden humility. The higher you go in life, the quieter you must become. The more anointed you are, the more controlled your emotions must be. The one who learns to be still in the storm will always rise above it. The enemy does not always come to destroy you. Sometimes he comes to distract you. He wants you to lose focus by reacting to every little thing. He wants you to fight battles that do not matter. He wants you to waste your time proving yourself to people who will never understand you. But when you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you are saying, my peace is too expensive to be traded for drama. You are saying, I refuse to be moved by the noise. You are saying, God is still on the throne, and that is enough for me. You cannot control what people say about you, but you can control what you believe about yourself. You cannot control who leaves you, but you can control your attitude when they do. You cannot control how the world treats you, but you can control how you respond. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you become untouchable in the spirit. You become too stable to be shaken, too focused to be distracted, too peaceful to be provoked. When Jesus was accused, he said nothing. When they spat on him, he said nothing. When they mocked him, he said nothing. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength under control. You see, those who are easily provoked are not powerful. Those who can remain calm under pressure are the real warriors. The lion does not respond to every bark in the jungle. The eagle does not fight with crows. It flies higher. If you are called to fly, why are you arguing with those who are crawling? Some of you are fighting battles that have no eternal value. You are losing sleep over opinions that will not matter in a month. You are losing your peace over words that came from broken people. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, because peace is your greatest weapon. The enemy cannot function in an atmosphere of peace. Confusion is his environment. Anger is his invitation. But peace drives him away. When you refuse to react, you confuse the enemy. He expects you to scream, but you worship. He expects you to complain, but you thank God. He expects you to panic, but you remain calm. That is how victory looks in the spirit. You win not by fighting, but by refusing to fight the wrong battles. You win not by proving them wrong, but by letting time and truth prove you right. You see, when you act as if nothing bothers you, you are not saying the problem does not exist. You are saying the problem will not define your mood. You are saying, I may not have control over what happens, but I have control over how I respond. That is spiritual maturity. That is divine composure. That is faith in action. Faith is not shouting, I believe. Faith is smiling in the storm. Faith is resting when there is no reason to rest. Faith is saying, it is well, when everything looks broken. My people, if you want to walk with God, you must learn the language of silence. God speaks most clearly when we are most still. But how can you hear him when your heart is noisy? How can you hear his whisper when you are shouting back at life? How can you discern his direction when you are busy explaining yourself to everyone? The voice of God does not compete with noise. Be still and know that he is God. Sometimes God allows you to be misunderstood to train your humility. Sometimes He allows you to be ignored to build your endurance. Sometimes He allows you to be rejected to strengthen your focus. These are divine lessons disguised as disappointments. You must learn to smile at them and say, I know my Redeemer lives. When you act as if nothing bothers you, people will wonder where your strength comes from. They will ask, how can you be calm when everything around you is falling apart? And you will tell them, because my peace does not depend on my situation. My peace depends on my relationship with God. This is the secret of those who last. The world can take their possessions, but not their peace. It can take their status, but not their stability. Some of you are too available to negativity. You open your heart to every rumor, every comment, every opinion. You scroll through social media looking for things to react to. That is not wisdom. Protect your peace. Guard your mind. Disconnect from noise. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you begin to live from the inside out, not from the outside in. You stop letting circumstances dictate your mood. You stop giving people power over your emotions. The real test of strength is not how loud you can shout, but how calm you can remain when life shouts at you. The real test of faith is not how you behave when things go well, but how you behave when nothing makes sense. If you can smile in the storm, if you can forgive when you are betrayed, if you can keep quiet when you are right, then heaven is applauding you silently. That is the maturity God is looking for. You must stop feeding what offends you. When people try to provoke you, stay silent. When they lie, keep quiet. When they gossip, pray. Silence is not defeat, it is strategy. It is letting God fight for you in the unseen realm. Those who talk much lose power. Those who stay silent allow God's hand to move. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you rise above human control. You become free. When nobody can manipulate you with insults. Nobody can steal your joy with rejection. Nobody can disturb your night with gossip. Because your peace is not attached to what they do. It is attached to who you are in God. You must learn to train your emotions. Do not speak too soon. Do not react too quickly. Do not post too fast. Every time you react in haste, you lose spiritual power. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you smile and say, God is in control, you win a battle in the unseen world. Heaven rejoices when you hold your peace, because peace is not silence, it is victory in disguise. Look at the calm sea. It looks quiet, but underneath it carries strength. The calm person is not weak. They are powerful beyond measure. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you are aligning yourself with the wisdom of heaven. You are saying, my peace is not negotiable. You are saying, my reaction is my responsibility. You are saying, nothing outside of me deserves the right to control what happens inside of me. You see, sometimes you must lose to win. You must let go of your right to be understood, to be justified, to be vindicated, because what God has prepared for you is greater than your reputation. The moment you stop defending yourself, God begins to defend you. The moment you stop reacting, He starts revealing. The moment you stop explaining, He starts elevating. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you become light. Offense is heavy. Anger is heavy. Revenge is heavy. But peace is light. Forgiveness is freedom. Silence is power. The less you carry in your heart, the higher you rise. Those who carry grudges cannot fly. Those who carry bitterness cannot see clearly. You must let go to go up. And remember, this peace is not given, it is built. You build it every time you refuse to argue. You build it every time you forgive. You build it every time you say, "It's okay, God saw it." You build it every time you choose silence over shouting. It is not easy, but it is worth it. Because the man who controls his spirit is greater than the man who conquers a city. When you learn to act as if nothing bothers you, you begin to walk with quiet authority. You do not need to prove who you are. Your peace speaks louder than your words. Your calmness becomes your confidence. Your silence becomes your sermon. You become a walking message of strength and grace. Do not let people's noise destroy your focus. Do not let their judgment steal your peace. Some will misunderstand you. Some will talk about you. Some will leave you. But do not worry. The plan of God is not affected by human opinion. Stay calm. Stay steady. Stay peaceful. Because what is yours will come not by struggle, but by grace. My people, peace is not a gift you receive once. It is a discipline you must practice daily. You practice it when you wake up and thank God for the day. You practice it when you choose not to answer every insult. You practice it when you forgive before being asked. You practice it when you smile instead of reacting. It is a lifestyle. The one who learns to act as if nothing bothers him has conquered himself. And when you conquer yourself, the world cannot conquer you. Nothing can shake a heart that rests in God. Nothing can disturb a spirit that trusts His timing. Nothing can offend a mind that knows its worth in Christ. So, when the next storm comes, when the next rumor spreads, when the next rejection happens, just smile and say, "I am still at peace." Because the peace of God is not based on the absence of trouble. It is based on the presence of trust. Trust Him even when it hurts. Trust Him even when it's unclear. Trust Him even when you feel forgotten. Because God never leaves the one who keeps silent in faith. Act as if nothing bothers you, not because you are careless, but because you are confident in God's care. Not because you are numb, but because you are rooted. Not because you don't feel, but because you have learned to kneel before the one who holds tomorrow. That is the secret of strength. That is the posture of peace. That is the victory of faith. Act as if nothing bothers you, because truly, with God on your side, nothing ever can. My people, listen to me. Nothing disturbs a heart fully anchored in God. When your heart is rooted in the presence of God, when your soul finds rest in His promises, storms may rise, waves may roar, winds may blow, but you remain calm. You are not calm because the storm is small. You are calm because your faith is bigger than the storm. The difference between those who panic and those who persevere is where their heart is anchored. Many are anchored to things that shift, people that change, situations that move. But those whose hearts are anchored in God remain unmoved, even when everything around them shakes. When a ship is anchored deeply into the sea, no matter how strong the tide, it does not drift. The same way, when your heart is anchored in God, you do not drift away with the current of fear, anxiety, or pain. You stand firm. You may bend, but you will not break. You may be pressed, but you will not be crushed, because your anchor is not in your feelings. It is in your faith. Feelings change, faith stands. People change, God remains. Circumstances shift, His word never fails. There are moments in life when everything you see seems uncertain. People disappoint you. Opportunities disappear. Plans collapse. You look around and nothing seems stable. It is in that moment you discover where your heart is anchored. Many people only trust God when the wind is calm, but faith is not tested in calm waters. Faith is proven in the storm. When everything you counted on begins to fail, that is when the strength of your anchor is revealed. A faith that is not tested cannot be trusted. The heart anchored in God does not ask, why me? It says, use me. It does not say, Lord, take it away. It says, Lord, take me through. Because it knows that God is not just the God of escape, but the God of endurance. He does not always calm the storm. Sometimes He lets the storm test what He built inside you. You see, God does not anchor you to comfort. He anchors you to character. He does not anchor you to applause. He anchors you to assurance. He does not anchor you to ease. He anchors you to endurance. A heart that is anchored in God does not depend on evidence to believe. It believes before it sees. It thanks before it receives. It rests before it resolves. Because faith is not about waiting for things to make sense. Faith is about trusting even when they never do. When your heart is anchored in God, you stop seeking understanding and start seeking trust. You stop asking why and start saying yes. That is the language of surrender. That is the strength of stillness. You see, storms are not sent to destroy you. They are sent to reveal you. When the wind blows, only the deeply rooted trees survive. When the fire comes, only the pure gold remains. When the shaking happens, only the anchored heart stands. Some people lose their peace because their foundation was built on people, money, or recognition. But when your foundation is God, you cannot be moved, because you are built on the rock that cannot be shaken. Look at the ocean. The surface may be violent, but deep down it is still. The same way, when your heart is anchored in God, the surface of your life may be turbulent, but deep within there is stillness. That stillness is not ignorance, it is insight. It is the assurance that God is in control even when you are not. It is the calm confidence that everything will work for your good, even when you cannot see how. That is peace the world cannot give. That is peace the world cannot understand. That is peace that does not depend on what happens, but on who holds you. Some people measure their peace by their progress. They think, if everything goes well, I will be at peace. But true peace does not come when everything goes well. It comes when you trust God, even when everything goes wrong. A heart anchored in God does not need perfect conditions to rest. It rests in God's promises, not in human plans. It says, even if the fig tree does not blossom, even if there is no fruit on the vine, even if the field yields no food, yet I will rejoice. That is not denial, that is divine confidence. Many of you are restless because you are trying to control what is beyond your control. You are trying to make people stay who were meant to leave. You are trying to understand situations that were meant to be surrendered. But the moment you anchor your heart in God, you stop striving, you stop forcing, you stop fighting battles that are not yours, because you realize that the one who holds your life is greater than the uncertainty of tomorrow. You begin to walk with quiet confidence, knowing that what is meant for you will find you, and what is not meant for you will leave you, and both will be for your good. When your heart is anchored in God, rejection becomes redirection. Delays become preparation. Pain becomes instruction. You stop seeing loss as punishment and start seeing it as positioning. You stop seeing disappointment as defeat and start seeing it as divine arrangement. Because your peace does not depend on what happens, but on who you believe. A heart anchored in God does not compete, it completes. It does not compare, it is content. It does not rush, it rests. It does not panic, it prays. It does not envy, it endures. It does not react, it responds. It does not fight for recognition, it walks in revelation. Because it knows what God has for me will not miss me. This is why the calm believer often confuses the world. They wonder, why are you not worried? You smile and say, because my trust is not in what I see. You see, fear and faith cannot live in the same heart. When fear enters, peace leaves. When faith enters, peace returns. That is why you must guard your heart. Guard it from worry. Guard it from doubt. Guard it from people who speak negativity into your spirit. A heart that is not guarded will drift. A heart that is anchored will endure. You cannot stop the rain, but you can build shelter. You cannot stop the storm, but you can secure your anchor. When you trust God, you don't need to understand everything. You just need to obey. Because understanding does not produce peace. Trust does. You can know all the facts and still be afraid. But when you trust God, even without the facts, you are still calm. Trust is saying, God, I may not know what you're doing, but I know you're doing something. It is saying, even when I cannot trace your hand, I will still trust your heart. That is how the anchored heart lives. Sometimes God will strip away your supports to teach you to lean on Him. He will allow certain things to fail so that your faith can stand. You will lose certain people not because they are evil, but because they were never meant to be your foundation. He will remove everything that makes you feel secure outside of Him so that you can find true security in Him. That is not cruelty, that is care. God is not trying to break you down. He is trying to build you up from the inside out. You must learn to rest in God's plan even when it doesn't match your preference. The storm is not there to destroy your boat. It is there to prove your anchor. Many cry, Lord, take away the storm. But God says, no, I want to show you that the anchor I placed inside you is stronger than the storm. You will never know how strong your faith is until it is tested. You will never know how deep your peace is until the waves come. And when you see that your heart remains calm, you will realize that was not you holding on to God. It was God holding on to you. The heart anchored in God is not afraid of tomorrow. It knows that the God who was faithful yesterday is the same today and forever. It knows that even if the road ahead looks uncertain, the hand that leads it is sure. It walks with courage, not because it sees the path clearly, but because it knows who walks beside it. Fear is born when we look at the storm. Faith is born when we look at God. The direction of your gaze determines the condition of your peace. The heart anchored in God does not react to time, it rests in timing. It knows that delay is not denial, that waiting is not wasting, that preparation is not punishment. It does not rush what God is still refining. It does not complain about what is not yet ready. It trusts that what is meant for it will not pass by it. You cannot force what God has not released. You cannot open what He has not yet unlocked. When your heart is anchored, you are patient. You are peaceful. You are poised. Because you know that God's clock is never late. Many people lose peace because they compare seasons. They see others rising and wonder why they are still waiting. But every plant grows at its appointed time. The oak does not envy the rose. The river does not compete with the sea. Each flows according to its purpose. When your heart is anchored in God, you stop measuring your life by other people's timelines. You stop chasing what others chase. You rest in who you are becoming. You know that peace is not in arrival, it is in alignment. The heart anchored in God can face betrayal and still bless. It can face loss and still love. It can face pain and still praise. Because its peace is not circumstantial, it is spiritual. The anchored believer can cry and still trust, can bleed and still believe, can fall and still follow. That is strength the world cannot explain. The same storm that breaks others becomes the place where your faith stands tall. Because while others look for escape, you look for endurance. There are days when you will feel forgotten. You will pray and heaven seems silent. You will work hard and see no results. But even then, stay anchored. Because silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. God hides not because he has left you, but because he is training you to walk by faith and not by sight. The teacher is always silent during the test. But when the test is over, the promotion comes. A heart anchored in God does not seek constant reassurance from people. It seeks revelation from God. It does not look for lights, it looks for light. It does not beg for validation, it stands in conviction. Because it knows that human approval is temporary, but divine affirmation is eternal. You do not need everyone to believe in you when God already called you. You do not need everyone to like you when heaven has chosen you. You just need to stay anchored and keep moving. The storms of life will come for all of us. Nobody is exempt. But the difference between those who collapse and those who continue is the anchor of their heart. Build your anchor in prayer. Strengthen it with the word. Protect it with obedience. Nurture it with trust. And when the storm comes, and it will come, you will discover that peace is not a place you run to. It is a person who lives inside you. When your heart is anchored in God, criticism does not destroy you. Success does not distract you, and failure does not define you. You become unshakable. You become stable. You become centered. The world may change, but your peace does not. Because you are tied not to the temporary, but to the eternal. Not to emotions, but to truth. Not to what happens, but to who God is. So, when life tries to shake you, stay still. When people try to pull you, stay centered. When pain tries to break you, stay grounded. Remember, nothing disturbs a heart fully anchored in God.